Rings. Once again, I'm back with another episode of Corn Ring Talk, and today I have one wonderful creator, Jay from Liberty Ring Creations. Jay is out in New Jersey, and today I'll have an opportunity to talk to him about him and his operations. Liberty Ring Creations is a ring company who uses natural elements to create rings for everyday wear. Find him on YouTube, Etsy, Instagram, and other social sites. Liberty Ring Creations. Ring creations are endless. Jay, how you doing?
Hey JT, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. I thank you for taking the time out your busy day to join me on Corn Ring Talk. You're the first Corn Ring creator I have in 2020. When I'm doing this start over, so I appreciate you taking your time out, man, to be here.
Yeah, no problem at all. I appreciate you having me on.
I wanted to introduce you to the community. You've been doing corn rings and you've been creating rings for a minute, I'm sure. And but based off the work that I've seen, I absolutely love what you've been putting out, the creations and the ability to put imagination, bringing it to reality. That's one thing I love. It's the ability to put precious metals with woods and also with resins. It's a whole bunch of things, and I think that the corn ring community and this audience will definitely love to see what you have in store. But before I actually go any further, I want to kind of figure out who is the creator of Liberty Ring Creations.
Well, my name's Jay. I've been a self-employed carpenter my whole life. So that probably ties into why I like using wood in some of my rings. I started coin collecting with my wife a couple of years ago.
Awesome.
And I'm sort of a power hobbyist. When I get into something, I go full bar.
Okay.
My wife always makes fun of me for that. I started coin collecting. Then shortly after, I started metal detecting and started finding some 250, 300-year-old colonial coins that were amazing. And then I got onto the rabbit hole of YouTube one night and found Skylar, found guys like Sri Tips, who's refining gold, and geeking out on that for weeks at a time. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can make a coin into a ring?
Wow.
So then got further down the rabbit hole of buying tools, started hammer and mandrel was my first coin ring.
Yes.
Drill, almost took my finger off trying to do it. And hammer and mandrel, and then realized I'm taking all the detail out of the center of this ring. There's got to be a better way. So I started searching, finally ponied up for an inexpensive ring stretcher, but fell in love with doing coin rings. And again, power hobbyist, that wasn't enough. I felt like in our conversation we had earlier, I felt like a lot of the coin rings were just seeming, and no offense to anyone's work out there, but it just seemed to sort of, it was getting washed out almost. Just, I felt like there was a lot of people making coin rings, and a lot of them are gorgeous. They're absolutely stunning. They're gorgeous, and they're so I wanted a little bit more, and that's what's led me up to this point with working with resins, working with woods. The coin rings are great, and I love incorporating coins with other materials. I think that's a really exciting ring. So yeah, I mean that's really, and I'm not done yet. There's more tooling I want. There's more ideas I have. And sometimes I don't even know an idea until it comes to me that morning. I'm like, hey, I want to try this.
That's what's up. I love that. So, what inspired you to get into corn ring making, though? From this point on, to seeing it from, I call the masters of the game, because they definitely did a good job in laying information, building the tools. But what inspired Jay to be a corn ring creator?
Probably because, like I said, with coin collecting with my wife, and she loves her some silver coins. The peace dollar is her favorite coin.
It's an awesome coin.
I always loved Walking Liberties. That's one of my favorite designs, and I use it in a lot of my rings. So I think just some of the artwork on the coins was inspiring, that I could wear that. That's cool. So that was really the inspiration to make coin rings, is that some coins are absolutely, and not just US coins, world coins are beautiful too. I haven't been able to get my hands on any yet.
Okay.
But the designs on them, on some coins, are just stunning. And I was like, wow, if I can make that into a ring and wear it. And then watching the Masters, watching Jason, watching Skylar,
Mm-hmm.
you know, watching those guys was just inspiring. That they didn't hold any, they didn't pull any punches. They were
Most
like,
definitely.
here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to make it. And
Mm-hmm.
if it weren't for those guys, I probably wouldn't have ever started this hobby, because if, you know, without YouTube, what are you going to do? Go to the local pub and be like, hey, does anyone know how to make coin rings?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
That's
I
why.
thank those guys for being so helpful and being so open and showing the
Right.
process. And, you know,
And I agree with your statement right there. You don't see a lot of people in your neighborhood, a group of people who do coin rings. So YouTube has definitely did a good job in spreading, I mean, bringing that together. And at least we can find a community that does it. You can drop any video from Fence Kid, from Skylar, from Jason, Patriot Coin Rings, and many others out there that are doing this hobby.
Yep.
What is your prize creation? What have you made that you wear on a daily, and or something that came to mind and you just love?
this is sort of my daily. It started life as a 1 ounce silver round.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is I forget the denomination. It's a fractional copper round.
Okay.
So I think you can still see some ridges on there. I don't know if I machined off the ridges. Where am I?
Yeah, I got you right in the middle, right there.
Yep.
Right there.
But you can still see I left the ridges on the copper, but I machined off the ridges on the silver. So that's my
Right.
daily. It's all beat up. And that also is a Walking Liberty design.
Okay. Awesome.
It's not a spinner because I ran out of material. And this was, I've taught myself how to use a lathe within the last few months.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a machinist, never have been, never claimed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought a small little lathe, about that big, a toy lathe. And that was cool, but it didn't have enough power. So I bought a little bit bigger one.
Okay.
But yeah, I love doing the lathe stuff. It's fun.
All right. So let's jump into the creation aspect of it. I'm a customer, and I want to know what would be in your mind when you're creating this ring. What type of customer would get, or what type of customer would you target with this coin ring, a Kennedy half, and making that ring?
Kennedy half, clad or silver?
Let's go for the silver.
Okay.
How would you?
Customer I would target with that is, I think probably my dream customer, because if you can get them with a Kennedy silver half, and they, one, appreciate the history, and two, that's one of my favorite looking coins as far as U.S. minted coins. In fact, I'm wearing one, just a clad one now.
Yeah.
I love the design of that
Me
coin.
too.
Yeah. I just love the design of it. It's beautiful with the stars and the eagle, and yeah, it's so that's kind of a dream customer, because I think if I can sell them a coin ring and they appreciate it and they wear it and they tell their friends about it, then maybe they come back to me and look at some of my other stuff that may incorporate a coin and resin,
Right.
or a coin and wood, or just a wood ring, or just a resin, you know. So I think it's a gateway customer. That's what I'll call them.
Okay. The reason why I stated that, because the most important thing that I realize in coin ring creations is that when you sit down at that bench, you want to say, okay, this ring here is for a person, and I start from there. Like I say, okay, this person loves JFK. All right, so maybe his birthday is coming up. When he was when he was in office, maybe it's around the moon landing. Maybe it's around one of his famous sayings that I was inspired by. And I said, you know what, this person is going to love this ring. So from that point on, I say, okay, what side do I want to show? Now, out of the $50, I would say that he has the most attractive one compared to our friend Ben, who may, when you do the ring, even though they both have the beautiful saying "In God We Trust," right there in a ring. It's something about the bald head that is folded on one of the sides of the
Right.
coin, right?
Right.
So you have the Kennedy there with the beautiful grain of hair, and I would say, okay, how would I make my packaging? Now, how far down a rabbit hole do you go when it comes down to creating? Do you stick to just the coin being a beautiful piece of art, or do you go straight to the packaging as well?
Well, I haven't done too much retail to speak of yet. So most of my clientele has been word of mouth. So I haven't gone crazy with packaging.
Hmm.
I do have some ideas about packaging. Um, most of the time, I'm handing the ring to them in person or
Okay.
shipping it to them. So I haven't gone super crazy with packaging yet. I do have some cool ideas that I'd like to do for some of my higher end rings.
Hmm.
But again, rabbit hole. Like how much time am I going to spend making the packaging? Because that's what I'm getting at. Is I would probably make my own packaging.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I haven't. I've given it thought, but it's yeah. Again, it's I'd rather put the work into the ring than the
Right.
packaging.
Okay. The reason, and I asked this question because I saw your recent YouTube video, and I thought it was pretty cool. I love the video from the beginning to the end.
Oh,
The
thank
way that you hook the audience, the way you explain the process, and also the narration. But you was inspired by this in making this ring by your daughter, if I can recall correctly.
you. Yes.
So tell me your creation process from beginning to end, because that was pretty cool.
On that ring specifically, or just in general?
In general, because that was inspired by your daughter's request, and you took it from a thought, and the way you hooked the audience in this video, you said, let's see if we can read the words in the ring when we're done. So that's one good way, I think, that kept me there. I wanted to see if it was possible to actually read the words. So from that, that was very creative, and I think that was geared towards a certain crowd as well. Those who like to read, book fairs, an author, a gift for a young one. So I think that the reason why I bring that up is that sometimes we don't know that we just hit a whole market by that creation. So that's why I want to know, what's your creation process from beginning to end?
Well, I mean, obviously, like you said, it has to start with a thought,
Hmm.
and then I've always been how do I don't even know what the word would be, but I've always been um, inspired to, if I have an idea, I'm going to usually I roll with it.
Hmm.
I try not to ever be afraid to try something. My dad told me when I was a kid, "Oh, I'll try it once, twice if I like it."
I got you.
So um, I just, if I get a thought, I try to figure out a way to make that happen. Now,
Hmm.
resin opens up. I mean, that there's so many possibilities with resin.
Right.
Um, and some of it's goofy. I'll admit some of the ideas I've had are kind of goofy, and I make the ring, and I'm like, I don't know. But it's one of those things. You got to try it and see if you like it.
Right.
Sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it. But some of the stuff I've made that I don't really care for, other people
Hmm.
look at, they're like, "Oh my god, I love it." So
Right.
it, it, it's always worth trying. You know what I
Right.
mean? Even if it's not your favorite thing, it's always worth trying.
I think that's an important thing to realize. And I'm gonna go down the list of your rings. Um, what was your thought process when you made the glow in the dark Walking Liberty? Who did you have in mind? What type of customer would you like to see enjoy that ring?
Well, the idea behind that ring, and I mentioned it in the video, but the idea behind that ring was, we were in the Outer Banks in North Carolina,
Hmm.
and we were on the beach at night, and the waves were glowing, and I was looking up, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's no moon, so it's not a reflection.
Hmm.
Why? I didn't have any idea what it was, and we looked it up, and it was a phenomenon called bioluminescent waves, or
Mm,
algae, and the algae
gotcha.
was glowing. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life, and beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So that was the inspiration for that resin.
Hmm.
Um, that I wanted it to look like the ocean and to glow,
Right.
like the algae. And then a friend of mine saw some of the resin I was making, a good friend of mine, and she wanted a ring with silver incorporated. So I'm like, Walking Liberty half-ounce round, and made that into a ring and married the two together. And I love the look of that ring. Love it.
Awesome, man. That's one thing I like to ask, because you never know what the story is going to be behind a creation. And that's why I asked it that way, because I thought it was pretty interesting when I saw the tone of that ring. When I saw the green, I said, damn, that's beautiful. You did an excellent job on that ring. And if you want to see that ring, please go to Jay's page on Instagram. It's called Liberty Ring Creations, and you'll see that ring in one of the profile pics. And also, please go to his Etsy page by the same name, Liberty Ring Creations, to go ahead and purchase that ring, because I believe it's also on his page. So Jay, what is the next YouTube video that you're going to make?
The next YouTube video, we'll give you a sneak peek. I believe, now don't quote me because my producer may have a different idea.
Okay.
But I think the one of two things with the next YouTube video will probably be a shop tour.
Okay.
Which I kind of laugh when I say that, because I'm in my shop right now, which is actually a 12 by 14 shed. So my shop is not very large. I can reach out and almost touch both sides of it, but
same here.
I just thought it'd be interesting to show everyone the tools I use, the inspiration for using those tools, and sort of the rabbit hole I've fallen down with purchasing tools. Some of them I already had, but most of them I didn't. So that will probably be the next video.
Oh, buffering. Okay, cool. I'm back. I'm definitely be looking out for that one. And I definitely will make sure that when it comes up, I'll put it on my community post. Jay, is there any some last words you'd like to say to the audience before we leave?
I'm thankful that you guys have welcomed me into the community, and I thank you so much for having me on, and putting my name out there for your followers to find me, which is great. Kind of stick to coin stuff a little bit more, and I stray from that a bit, but I still that was where I started, was coin rings, and I'll always try to keep those in my art in one way, shape, or form. Not always, but I mean that was how I started, so I'm not going to forget where I came from.
Most definitely, I love the way that you fuse both natural and precious metals together. So keep on doing that. Keep on creating. Before we leave, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, and the name is the same on all the social media platforms. YouTube, we're Liberty Ring Creations. Facebook, Liberty Ring Creations. Etsy, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all the social media. I don't do a whole lot on Twitter, mainly Facebook and Instagram, as far as posting up pictures of some of the stuff I'm making. The Etsy store, there is some stuff you can purchase on there. We appreciate it. And look at the YouTube. If you guys throw a subscribe or a like, that'd be awesome. And we do giveaways, and I am all about the giveaways. So we're gonna work with you, JT. We had talked about that off air. We're gonna put together something for your followers, and if you guys come over to the YouTube, check us out, and we will be doing some more giveaways as things move ahead here.
I appreciate that. And thanks for the giveaway. Guys, this is Jay from Liberty Ring Creations. Make sure you go check him out on YouTube and his other social media sites, especially him on Instagram. Give him a follow. Jay, thank you once again. I really appreciate it, man. I just want to say that I thank you for giving me your time, and we will definitely put this out, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Great, man. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon, JT.
All right, guys. You take care.
Later.
All right, guys. That was Jay from Liberty Ring Creations. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Coin Ring Talk. This will be out real soon. Remember, guys, you got to create something daily. All right, so start today.